This video is for King Yu challenging Mr. Scott Sepanek. Is it how you pronounce it? I have a strange S name too, Swaney, which I hate having to correct people on. Is it Swanee or what? So I hope I said it right, Mr. Sepanek. So I have to respect you because you have fought for our country. Whatever you did, props to you. All honor or whatever that is due to you. I'm not trying to disrespect in that way. I do respect you for serving our country. And for your warrior heart, I do respect that too, because that's good. And I have that too. But I'm just trying to figure out if we're on the same team or not, because when I first saw you, I was like, all right, a guy that doesn't like the rapture, because I've got some family people that are tied up in that doctrine of men that makes sons of hell. So I thought, all right, great, he's on my team. But then the more I watched you, the more I couldn't figure out, besides being against the rapture, what you're for. Because you don't seem to be for the king who's coming that all will bow to. So who exactly are you with, and what is the score? Because I can't figure out if it's a shell game or what you're trying to do here. But it's like, oh yeah, look at them, look at them, look at them. But what are you? Never heard you talk about king that's coming that all are going to bow to in Philippians 2, or showing that you're not one of those falsies in Revelation 2, like the Synod de Satan, who never talks about a king because they believe that Jesus boils in shit. Is that one of your beliefs, sir, Mr. Scott? Because, wow, that would mean that I'm not on the same team as you, when I thought that you were anti-rapture. But what exactly are you? Because if you're not coming for a king, then you might be raptured anyway. So if you're not here for the king who comes, and that's what the Lord's Prayer says, like, you know, thy kingdom come to earth as it has been in heaven. So if you're not planning to stay here for the king and the kingdom that he's bringing, then you're not going on the rapture. So what are you trying to do? I just never heard you say it. Like, and did you know that rapture means caught up into the king's kingdom for like service? That's what the actual word represents. So if you don't believe it's that, and you don't believe it in the king coming, then are you part of Star Trek? Because that's Star Trek, you know, that crew of believers that believes like, beam me up. They'll go beam me up, all right. And it might be that Star Trek movie coming true. That's like a froze, cold-blooded planet with all these self-serving, self-loving people there. I don't know if you're one of them, and I hope you're not, but I really can't tell. So I'm just trying to figure it out. If you just come out and say what it is you believe, because the king who came, he did tell the Pharisees that if you just followed the two greatest commandments, it could all be good. We wouldn't even need any of the law and the prophets. It would summarize all that. And they killed them for saying that, but yet I've never heard you mention that, because wouldn't that be the greatest reset if we could just love each other right and God the way we're supposed to? And not get up all these divisions about, well, you got to believe the doctrines that I believe. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm right. Well, really, what do you believe? What's your statement of faith to show you're right? Never heard you say your actual doctrines, or are they on some other video you made last night? I don't know, because I haven't seen that many. I can't listen to all this finger pointing, because that's what the Pharisees did. They were really good at finding everybody that was wrong, like they did to the king. And now you don't want to say king because you don't believe the rapture is true, but you don't believe the king's for you either. So are you a bigot? Is that what you are? Like one of these that, like, are you trying to set up that Trump gold thing? That gold coin thing where he had the Trump, you know, the Trump coins made with his head on the front, and then on the back of them had the vaccine and the sword to cut off our heads if we're not part of the Ashkenazi crew? Is that what you're trying to be with? And like, are you thinking that's going to be like the way we're going to like be sacrificed so we could get the crown of life and then get rewarded more? Is that the idea? I don't understand. I'm just trying to figure it out, because I never hear you say what's right besides pointing out what's wrong with everybody. Okay, so then where are you? Because like when I correct people, usually I say what's true to fight what's false. But I don't see you doing that. You just keep saying they're wrong. They're wrong. This is so wrong. This is wrong. What? That's the way a warrior, I agree, that's the way a warrior would fight. But you need to have some truth in you too to show what you believe and where you're at. Because if the light in you is dark, how great is that dark? And Ephesians 4 says that grieve not the Holy Spirit in whom you're sealed until the day of redemption. That day of redemption hasn't come yet, buddy, for anyone. So there's no one's been saved yet, and your doctrines don't value anything. There are people that follow the greatest 2 commandments that might have a better chance than you, because you're like, oh yeah, I will be saved, Lord, because, I have my own ministry, born again, Israel, so, I'm part of you. And he might say, depart from me, I don't know you. You look like another Pharisee. What are you going to say? Wait a minute. I got good doctrine. No, doctrines of men make sons of hell, so it doesn't mean nothing. So, if you want to talk about, like, how to witness to kids by just saying that Santa Claus is true, it's just his name is Jesus Christ the King, well, then that might be a good thing to do to, like, show where you're at, because that's pretty simply how it is, unless you're, like, one of these bigots trying to turn everybody against each other, like the divider-in-chief churches. So please, just lay it out and tell us what you believe, because I'd really like it to know, because I keep seeing all these problems you have with all these other people. And wow, it's just amazing, these chips you got on your shoulder, and I'm just like, are you reporting them to the king, or are you just liking the publicity to talk crap about everybody else so you know that you're the one? Just like a divider-in-chief. So please, do tell, what do you believe, and why don't you, like, tell these people the truth? If you're so against what they're doing wrong, then why don't you wake them up and say, hey, you got to believe in the king, otherwise, it's not going to be good when he says, I don't know you. But I don't even hear you saying that. I just hear you saying, oh yeah, you got to believe in Israel or whatever. I really don't understand, sir. Your theology is just all over the map. It's not clear what you actually believe about the end. But you've got some books you read from, but, like, why don't you just read Revelation and say which part of the church you are in Revelation 2? Because I think I'd rather be part of that Revelation 7 church, which is just a remnant. And as far as the tribes go, isn't that a tribal thing of heart? Like, you have a tribal heart for the king, I would think, because it said that he doesn't separate between Jew and Gentile. So why are you trying to do that? So I'm just trying to figure it out, because if the light in you is dark, how great is that dark? And all I hear you saying is, like, gaslight shows of dark. Like, oh, see, that one's dark, and that one's dark. Oh, don't go to that one. Don't watch out for that. And you? Who are you? That's not too clear.